I did have doubt. I know I'm a parent. I know I'm a mother. I know I can do this, but can I do this blind? But I found that most of my time was spent trying to prove that I could, but it was not just to them. I also found myself proving it to myself because
Yeah.
I doubted myself.
And I think
Hmm.
some lived experiences will help that doubt go away. So one of
Mm-hmm.
my biggest doubts was kind of just being out and about with my kids without my husband. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
one kid, cool, I can hold your hand and hold my cane. If it's two kids, I'll figure it out. But now that I have three, it's like, okay, well, how do I travel with three kids, three
Yeah.
young kids, and make sure they don't like run into the middle of the road or something like that. So
Mm.
We face our problems every day. It seems they'll never fade away. The world may bring us down. Tonight we're gonna turn it around. So let's put it all on the table. Talk about it if you're willing and able. Life's love and insecurities and a laugh or two. Come and take a seat. So bring your concerns to us. Together we can discuss what's on your mind. No matter what you go through, just know we'll be here for you every time. Let's talk about it. Blind table talk. Let's talk about it. Blind table talk. We gotta be about it. Go ahead and walk the walk. So let's talk about it. Blind table talk. Let's talk about it.
What's the word, y'all? Welcome back to Blind Table Talk. This is your host, Fleets, security of the community. You know, I got y'all back.
Yes, welcome back, y'all. This is Saida Victoria, aka Sassy Sai, your blind butterfly. Thank you so much for tuning in with us again this week. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We have a truly special episode this week, don't we, Sassy?
Yes, yes, we do.
It's time to talk to our beautiful mommies out there, our mothers, the
Yes,
ones who nurture us and, take care of us and all the good jazz. Like,
yes.
we,
So,
we must appreciate, right?
yes, and first, I mean, we cannot forget just to say Happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there. And, it's hard being a mom. Okay,
Real
I know
talk.
that.
Real
So,
talk from
um, yes, it's a tough job.
yeah,
Tough
yeah,
job.
yes,
So,
indeed. So from our tables to y'all's, what I'm saying? Like she said, happy Mother's Day to all you beautiful mothers. Like, we really
yes.
appreciate y'all for sure.
And we
And happy
recognize and acknowledge all the
definitely
moms.
recognize all the
Yeah.
moms, even my mama. Happy Mama's Day, mama. I love you.
Yes,
Mwah.
yeah,
All that good
mine
jazz,
too,
you know what I'm
mine
saying? And
too. We're gonna keep this short for y'all just to go because we thought, because it is Mother's Day, we're gonna just give you a little special treat with our parenting panel. But guess
oh,
what?
what you
It's
got for 'em?
it's only moms on there.
It's only
So
mamas, so I can't wait for y'all to
yes,
listen to these mothers share their story and just talk about, their
yes.
children and their journey. And hey, it's beautiful, y'all.
Yes, yes, yes. But don't forget, visit our website, www.blindtabletalk.com.
You know where to find it.
Absolutely.
And also, don't forget about our YouTube channel as well, Blind Table Talk. Like, subscribe, and share. And please leave a comment. And remember, y'all, we do have our text number. Hey, Sassy, what's that text number for?
Yes, so you can leave us a voicemail as well, and that number is 800-321-6456.
Use that number, y'all. You never know.
Yes.
You never know. And we about to be. You know what? I almost dropped. I almost dropped something on the table.
Just hold on.
Ooh, wee.
Hold off. We can't it
Mm,
just
mm,
just
mm.
know, y'all, things are in the works. You are going to, really see a lot of hot new stuff on the table. We tell you
Yes,
that
indeed.
now.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
And be on the lookout for our exclusive YouTube content. There's a lot of new stuff that's coming
Hey,
up
they
on
got a
that
new
as
sassy
well.
seat out.
I do.
Man, with our beautiful
Yes.
Denari, who has been,
Yes.
one of our
Yes.
members on the table. So, a
Yes.
big
So,
salute. I'm so happy
yes.
for that. So, hey,
So
y'all be on the lookout for all
if
this,
you
man.
haven't checked it out yet, please go and do so.
Real talk, real talk.
And let's jump right into it.
Let's get it.
Blind table talk, yeah.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. And we have a great parenting panel for you. Some awesome moms that we're going to bring to the table. And if you guys don't mind, I would love for you ladies to tell who you are and where you're from and tell us about your kids.
I'm Britt. I'm from Addis, Louisiana. I have 8 kids, 6 boys and 2 girls, ages
Mhm.
11, 10, 2 8-year-olds, 6, 4, 3, and 2.
Wow. Britt, you have your hands full. Oh my goodness. That is so. Whew,
Oh, yeah.
okay. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Britt, and welcome to the table.
Glad to be here.
Hi, this is Jennifer. I live in the Metro Atlanta region in Georgia, and I have three kids. So a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-month-old.
Oh, the itty bitty babies.
Itty
Welcome,
bitty.
Jennifer.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right. And who's next?
Hi, my name is Nicole, and sorry if I sound weird. I just got off of a cold, but um, I live in Toms River, New Jersey, and I only have one baby who is almost a year and a half. He's 17 months.
Oh, awesome. All right, boss lady.
Hi, you all know me as Christina. I have four children, and they range from age 22. Sorry, when you got a lot on, you got to remember that. 22, 19, 17, and 6.
Awesome. Well, welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us at the table. We got some good discussion topics for you. And again, our purpose for our BVI parenting panel is, to spread awareness in society and of all of our abilities because we are parents first and we're parents that just happen to be blind. So thank you all. And it's going to also be some empowerment for other BVI parents as well. So thank you guys again. I just, good to know we have some wide, wide variety at the table tonight, right? So, age ranges, that makes a big difference in parenting as well. But let's jump right into it and talk about some BVI parenting.
So this very first thing is like so not related to just blind parenting. I'm sure that all parents can relate to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you start having kids, your life is no longer your own, right? I
No.
have a older friend. I like to, pair up with the older ladies, there's wisdom and things like that. But I have this older friend, and she would tell me how she loved eating a lots of things when she was, parenting her younger kids, and they always wanted something of everything she got. They wanted some, right? So her thing would be to go in the bathroom. She would lock the door and pretend to be using the bathroom so that she could just eat the things that she wanted to eat by herself. Like I'm like that. To me, that was so funny. And with at the time, I'm thinking like that's a lot to do just to have food by yourself, right? But my kids are those type of kids. I don't know why they gotta like what I like. So I just want to know like where other places do you all use to escape? Not even just to eat something, but your places for peace and just to get a few minutes to yourself.
I'm surprised her kids didn't come into the bathroom or like bang on the door
Right.
to
Until
get in
you
there.
opened it. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, some
I
places
feel
there
like
is no peace.
with
Right.
my house, there is no spot for me. So my husband has his man cave, the kids have a playroom, and the entire house. There is no like woman or she shed for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
mainly just wait till all the kids go to bed. And when they go to
Yeah.
bed, I'll sneak food to my room and then lock the door.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
I
say that's
fully
me too.
understand.
I do have it's not huge, but I have a big walk-in closet and it's in the back of the house. Like I could go in there, but um, unfortunately that door doesn't lock. So, and
I
my
could
kids
just
will
walk
find me
right
out.
in.
So yeah, I have to wait till they go down, which is
Yeah.
supposed to be between like 7 and 8, but usually they're up
Mm.
past that.
Especially with
Yeah.
daylight saving times, it kind of just screws things up.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. 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 Well, you guys know that's funny that you guys say that and that kind of stuff because my peace came at bedtime, right? Because, like clockwork, 8 o'clock, I don't care. You don't even have to fall asleep. Because that's my time. And a lot of parents, even nowadays, these, especially younger parents, it's like 12, 11 o'clock at night and their kids are up running around.
Oh
And
no.
Yes.
and
No.
and then they wonder why they're so stressed out because there's never no peace time for them. At 8 o'clock,
Hmm.
my house was quiet, you know,
Yes. Heads
because
in
that's your
bed.
peace time. Yes. And so many
Mm-mm.
kids say, "Oh, I'm not tired." Okay, well, you don't have to go to sleep, but you're going to be in your room laying down, and of course, they end up falling asleep. But
Hmm.
no, I need for my sanity. I had too many kids to be allowing them to be up running around all day and all night too.
I used to have I had I was a nanny for a lady. She used to put her kids to bed at like 6.
I
And I'm like,
know.
it is still daylight outside. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
but
little early.
I feel
I
Although,
like that's
know.
where routine, I feel like that's where routine comes in because,
Hmm.
like if you want to, if you like me, as what I've realized is like you want the baby to have a proper sleep or your kid to have a
Hmm.
proper sleep, then you would just have to kind of wake them up at 8 and make them go to
Hmm.
sleep by 8. And that way they
Right.
have like a full 12-hour
Yeah.
active day and then a full 12-hour night. And then by 8, you're just doing whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And too, with that going to bed at 6 and at 8, that does mean that they are up at 5, 6 in the morning too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep,
Early.
yep.
I would not wake up that early. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
Mm-mm.
see,
No
and
thanks.
and I'm opposite from you all because y'all wait to bedtime. Like morning is my time for myself. Like when we're packing to go on trips or if I'm doing anything, like I'm usually up at 4 or 5 in the morning with the house to myself. Everybody, it's quiet. Everybody's asleep. I know they're not gonna wake up at that time. So hey, that I like to escape to my bubble bath and do whatever early in the morning.
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, if I have to get up, I am crawling out of bed.
Oh
Same
goodness.
here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
is funny. So, all right. Another thing that I was thinking about, and because when I go through Facebook and these things, and I know because all of you guys are parents, but there's a big thing that's going around. It's not new, but it's when women, blind women or visually impaired women, are having their baby or in the hospital or giving birth to their baby. And there's a big thing going about with the hospital staff and social workers and things of that nature coming in to the mothers that um, where they feel like they cannot take care of their child because they are blind. And so, that's been going around, and that's what I was seeing on Facebook, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that, and even if you've had any experience in that.
I gave birth to my baby last year on October. And although the hospital stay was amazing, um, there was a lot of how would she do? How would she do? At that point in time, I had a sighted partner who is the father of the baby. I had a C-section, an emergency C-section, and I couldn't really necessarily get up off the bed the same day, but they would literally tell him, like, oh, well, we're going to teach you and you're going to have to teach her once you get home because we don't know we've never worked with a blind mom. And that, on a
Mm,
personal note and on a personal level, that made me feel so incompetent, especially as a first time mother who
mm,
I am not surrounded by or I wasn't at that moment. I was not surrounded by any um, blind individuals or any blind moms or blind parents, to be exact. So that just made me feel really sick inside. But now that I saw it on Facebook, it just really, makes me
Yeah.
want to spread this awareness, and why I reached out to you guys, because just because some doctors or people or discrimination, because I'm going through a lot of that now too,
Hmm.
doesn't mean that we can't be parents. Um, Blindness does not stop us from doing so.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said because you know what the thing is, and that was so unfortunate for you because let's just face it, you probably had the doubts in your mind too, right? And
Mm-hmm.
as being up, and then here somebody comes and that's like it kind of like added to your doubts because now she's saying, well, how I'm going to teach you because I don't know how to teach her, and that was so like I don't know if it was the staff, but why do our staff are in the hospitals all this? So why don't they know that we can take care of our kids? At least if they don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is
Mm-hmm.
it that they are the ones that give us the most flack when they should be the ones that do know we can take care of our kids?
My thing about all of that even if they are unaware because they have not experienced it, where is the human side of people? Where is the tactfulness? Where
Mm-hmm.
is the,
Yeah.
the fact that you shouldn't assume anything? Like,
Absolutely.
just because you don't know doesn't mean that it's not possible.
So this person is a social worker. They probably should have known better. I'm sure there's a course within their studies when they went for their social work license and degrees and such about
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
cultural just being aware and
Yeah.
being sympathetic or empathetic. So I feel like that person should have known better
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
than to say
Yeah.
that.
But that brings me back to this though, and why are I feel like everybody in workplaces in a position of any position in a company, in a workplace, especially in our city, state, federal, why do not why don't they have the trainings that what is it, diversibility trainings and those things, those type of trainings so that they know that they should not say stuff like a blind parent could not take care of their child?
So they
Why,
do. So
where?
I've been in the medical field. My background is in nursing, and they do
Mm-hmm.
have these different like competencies. But
Yeah.
honestly, it is a module on a computer. You can click through it. You don't have to really
Mm,
read it. You kind of just
right.
click through it. You get to the end. You answer about 5 questions, and you're done. You move on.
Oh,
So there are
Ah,
That's
trainings, but you
crazy.
kind of
that's
just breeze
why.
through it because your
Yeah.
day is so busy that you're like, let me just get this done because it's a requirement.
ah.
So there
So
are
the
trainings.
state, yeah, so the company is covered because
The
they're
company's
offering
covered.
the
Yeah,
trainings because they are doing. Now, whether they read them or not, that's the problem.
exactly.
They should
Yeah.
make it more mandatory to make sure that they read and answer more in-depth questions, because that's just not right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so unfortunate because, I mean, even if as a sighted person, if we were a sighted person, we would not have, I mean, not even nearly, no, half of the doubt that we have as our in our parenting abilities, even though there are sighted parents out there that are way worse
Oh yeah.
than
Yes.
anything some of us blind parents have ever done and would ever
Yeah,
do to our kids, right?
Yes.
But
absolutely.
but because they can see they're still better than us.
Hmm.
Which is not right. Like I feel like
It's
we're
ridiculous.
all on the same playing field. We're all parents and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a blind parent, I touch a lot. So I
Mm-hmm.
might notice something on my kid before you do because I'm touching them all the
Yes.
time.
Right.
One time, when my first daughter was born, she had some respiratory issues. We were in the hospital for about 3 days when she
Mm.
was a month and a half, and so we're
Mm-hmm.
about to be discharged. They're giving me something called an apnea monitor, which I have to like wrap around her body. It tracks her heart and her breathing. So if it goes
Mm-hmm.
below a certain rate, it beeps. And
Mm-hmm.
so my husband was on his way to come pick us up. So it's just me and my daughter in the hospital room. And he wanted to wait until my husband got there to show my husband how to do it.
How
And I
to
said, no, no, no. I mean, we're both
mm-hmm.
primary
Yeah.
parents, but
Right.
I'm the primary parent. I'm the one that's home with the baby majority of the time. Tell me how to do it. Show me where the buttons are. I'm going to feel
Yeah.
around. You're going to stay here and teach me. When my husband comes to discharge, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go home. And so
Yeah.
I think
Right.
us being like huge advocates for ourselves is a big
Mm-hmm.
deal.
So I think a lot of it too is having to educate and advocate at the same time
Yep.
Right.
because they don't know. And I may have been and probably was one of the only blind people they've seen or they've dealt with. And for them to see me or see things that they think I wouldn't be able to do, now I have to, prove that I can do that. It,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not malicious. They're not doing it because like, oh my God, she can't do it. Like, oh no, let's help her. Let's do that. And I'm like, no, I can do this. But there was many times that I felt and doubted myself as a mother and was like, well, damn, can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this? Even though I raised four children sighted fully, and I raised them just fine. But when I had that one daughter, that one child as a blind woman, I did have doubt. I know I'm a parent. I know I'm a mother. I know I can do this, but can I do this blind? But I found that most of my time was spent trying to prove that I could, but it was not just to them. I also found myself proving it to myself because
Yeah.
I doubted myself.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
some lived experiences will help that doubt go away. So one
Mm-hmm.
of my biggest doubts was kind of just being out and about with my kids without my husband. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
one kid, cool, I can hold your hand and hold my cane. If it's two kids, I'll figure it out. But now that I have three, it's like, okay, well, how do I travel with three kids, three
Yeah.
young kids, and make sure they don't like run into the middle of the road or something like that? So
Mm. Yeah.
how do you guys travel
Do
with your
that.
kids and make sure they're like standing next to you rather than like 2 miles down the road somewhere?
Right.
I don't typically travel by myself with them because
Mm-hmm.
where we live, it's it's not rural
Mm-hmm.
anymore. It used to be, but there's no sidewalks. There's
Yeah.
nothing to go to. The only place I could go to is a gas station, and I have done that. When we had our wagon, I would put as many as I could in the wagon, and then pull it behind me and have
Mm-hmm.
a baby on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I can wear two kids at the same time, but that is not
Mm.
like you don't want to walk a long time like that.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. Are you
Uh,
total? Are you
yeah,
what's your
I
so
well,
you are total
I'm totally blind now.
mm-hmm.
I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've always been legally blind, but up
Right.
until 2017, just the year after my twins were born,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was diagnosed with glaucoma, and at that point, I had four kids. So kids 5, 6, 7, and 8. Once they were
Mm-hmm.
born, I lost the remainder of my vision.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I have lost a lot of confidence and uh, like I refuse to be out in public by myself, say
Mm-hmm.
at the park with all my kids,
Mm-hmm.
because not that I don't. It's not that I don't trust myself. I do trust myself, but um, first of all, the littles, the ones that are 2, 3, and 4, like they'll go run off, and not say
Wander
anything.
off. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't chase after them.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
lot slower than I used to be, even though I do use a
Mm-hmm.
cane. But so and then, but I feel like that's not. It doesn't just have to. That's not just a blindness issue, though. I mean, that's a parenting issue because I know plenty of sighted people that wouldn't, one sighted person wouldn't take 8 kids by themselves to the park
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
because that's just a lot.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a gated
I
park.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, that brings a good, I mean, I get that. Even in no matter how many kids, me by myself, taking young ones, like I am not comfortable with them playing on the jungle gym and swinging in the park. No, because what if somebody did lure them away? I mean, I
Yeah.
cannot,
Mm-hmm.
what if somebody did, and my kids were very curious and my daughter knew no strangers. Everybody was,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there and I'm like and I'm listening, but there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of kids playing around here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get that. I would be very uncomfortable. I would not want to have my kids. And then for me, my older kids, my younger one, there's about a 10 year, there's a big gap, right? But it is not my older kids' responsibility
To take
to
care
have
of
to
you.
watch, yes, to have
Yeah.
to watch my daughter either. So,
Mm-hmm.
trying to put, I know siblings take care of each other and all that stuff, but it was important to me to make sure that my kids didn't feel an extra burden. But on the flip side of that, I know sighted parents that make their child responsible for their younger ones way more than they should.
Yeah. And I don't think that's
Yeah,
fair. A child should just be a
A
child. Let
child,
the kid be a
absolutely.
kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
I will say like for my kids, I always made it almost like an adventure, a learning experience going out with them because I've definitely rode city buses with three kids, and at that time, trying to use a cane, they want to play with your cane while you're standing on bus stop, stuff
Yep.
like that, whatever. But I always made it like so much learning experience for them, like teaching them to be able to look for cars and be able to cross the street on their own. That was safety for them also, not just for me. These are things that they're going to use, going forward in the future.
That level of
Mm,
I
anxiety gets
think,
pretty high when you're trying to like listen out for the kids and
yeah.
know where they are and pay attention, especially if there's multiple kids. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard about the squeaky shoes. I've heard putting bells on their shoes.
mm-hmm.
I've heard of doing like a roll call. So every 5, 10 minutes, you say like marker, or they're supposed to shout out polo. So you know that they're all
Mm-hmm.
there, or like, sound off. And they just said, all right, kid number one, kid number two, kid number three. I've heard of all those different tactics. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to do all those different things and see how it is because I don't want my kids to not have the experience of going to the park and
yeah,
like doing
Yeah.
things like a sighted mom would do. I want them to have like a full kid life experience. But on the other side, if I'm feeling really anxious about being at the park, I am putting quite a bit of finances into my backyard to make my backyard like the best kid oasis. And so it's fenced in. You guys can play as much as you want. I know you're not leaving the gated area of my backyard.
Yeah, to take those safety precautions to make sure
Yeah,
that your sanity is not messed with, right?
right.
And also, there's a lot of places now, like how how you used to take the kids to Chuck E. Cheese and they stamp all of you with the same stamp, so nobody leaves out of there with a kid that's not theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like you got to put your hand up under the thing to match. So there's other like those jump places and things like that that are doing that now, where you got to have, they got to unlock the gate for you to leave out, stuff like that. There's no just wandering in and out, So I think those
mm-hmm.
places to me are a little more safe where kids can still run free, but with a little more controlled environment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something that I do with my son now, that because he's still so little, but that I'm trying to teach him, is for him to, I want to make sure that he is learning his name. For example, I try to sit him down with me and I explain to him and say, honey, every time that I call you, you need to, talk to mama. You need to make a sound. You need to do something, even say mama or give me something or do something to know that you are around.
I have a question for you guys as parents. At what age or at what point do you think or do you feel they realize that mama can't see or mama's blind or something? You know what I mean? Because
That is a good
I
question.
It's
I
definitely
had
before two.
I think
Oh.
so too. And now I have grandchildren, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I swear my grandson was 2 and he wanted to show me something and he came and grabbed my hand
And
and
took
put it
you.
on it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
That's
I'm
what
like,
mine
how
does.
would he know? Like what?
These
Why
kids
wouldn't
are
he just
smart.
say, I know? And
They
I'm
just
just like,
know. They know.
it
They
my
just
is.
do.
my 2-year-old can, he probably the reason he knows is because I done banged him into the wall one too many times.
Oh, poor thing.
Or
It
Yeah.
step on them on the
happens.
floor, like, hey, you learn to move, baby. You see this train
Yeah.
coming?
Yep, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is true, but I mean, it's like they gotta know, like you say mama can't see and all that type of stuff, but you don't know that they really understand. But when they do little things like that, to show you and to go, oh, let me see, and they come and put it in your hand to see, they're not just holding it up for you to see. Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
this boy, he has got to know something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
I
think
think
that
they
they
pick up on
just
those
know.
context clues.
Mm-hmm. I
Mhm.
think that they just know because, like you said, I think that even though you say mama can't see it, you need to show mama. It's
Mhm.
like I tell this to my son all the time, like, show mama with your. So I kind of describe to him how to show mama. Like,
Do
Mm-hmm.
you
I
already
get up,
like
like,
have your hand out or something like,
so
hey,
like
put it in
I
my hand?
like yes, like I either have my hand out, and so I would ask him what's wrong. And so, for instance, when he was sick to his tummy, he would like clutch my hand with his on his tummy and
Yeah,
go,
see,
That's
like that.
and he
smart.
would go,
Exactly.
like, ow, because
Mm-hmm.
we speak Spanish too. He'd go, I. I'm like, oh my love.
See, right
Oh,
there. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. How, with him knowing that to put your hand, like he should think, you can see him putting his hand on his stomach, but he knows that you can't see that. So he had to put your hand on his hand to show you that. And the fact that they know that is just amazing. There's
I
something in the
think
water, something in the water with
I
these kids.
really
it's these
think
COVID
that is
babies.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I really think, and this is like my personal opinion, but I really, really think that it's just the way that we parent our kids. They see that we're
Yeah.
touching them more than a
Yeah.
sighted parent would, or they
Yeah.
see that we're communicating and talking to them more than a sighted parent would. And so I
Hmm.
personally think that it's just the way that we parent our
We
kids.
train. Yeah.
And I think for the
That's a good
kids, like
point.
it's just norm for them. And so
Hmm.
Yeah.
they don't think, I mean, they understand mommy, daddy might be blind, but to them it's like, no, it's just mommy, daddy. It's just my
Yeah.
parent. Or
Yeah.
about, I don't
Right.
think they think
Hmm.
of us as any different, which I think is
Hmm.
so awesome. Whereas the rest of the world might see us as different. Our kids are just like, no, that's just mommy. That's
Hmm.
just how we do.
It's like if somebody in school said, "Oh, well, how does your blind mommy does this?" They're like, "Well, what's the difference? Like, this is what we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I
This
mean,
is what
she's just
mommy
my mom.
does.
This is
Like,
Yeah.
just how we
this is
do it.
mommy, and this is what I love about, like, it kind of sucks because I was listening to somebody else the other day where they were saying like, "Oh, when I lost my eyesight, my kids didn't really understand." And it's
Hmm.
so much more different, unfortunately. I mean, it is unfortunately when people lose their eyesight. I'm totally blind. I've been blind since birth. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, but how do you do it?" And I'm like, I
You
just
just
You
do.
do.
just do it.
There's
Yeah.
no
You
answer to
just
How do
it.
you
I
be a
do
just
it.
do it.
mom? You just figure it out.
Yeah. Like it's the same way sighted people figure stuff out though, right? It's not,
Yeah.
Hmm.
there's things that they don't know how to do and they don't and aren't taught. You just, some things you just figure out.
At the end of the day, I feel as if like, whether we're blind or not, we're going to fight with tooth and nail for our kids. And it doesn't matter what we are, what we're not, if we're blind, if we're not, like
Absolutely.
that don't matter. Like who cares? At this point,
Yeah.
blindness is just a word. As it's like I told the judge the other day, it's like blindness is just a word
Yeah.
because I wouldn't be the first or the last. I mean, look at all of us as a group now, and this is amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
I feel like a lot of things that we worry about are not blind related. They're just
yeah.
mom related.
They're
Oh
mom
yeah,
related, but it doesn't matter because society turns it into a blind thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's where the problem comes in for me is that we are our mothers, right? We are, that we happen to be blind again, as I said that, but because we are blind, everything we do is amplified 10 times.
yeah.
yeah,
Like I've
absolutely.
said it, falling off the bed. You know how many sighted people kids fall off the bed?
Oh my
That,
God, I've heard
they're
that
so,
plenty.
yeah. So everything that
I
we
thought
do
that
is
was a part that
amplified.
they have to do to kind of
Right.
learn to
It,
start
to,
rolling
gr-
off the bed.
right.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Shoot.
Exactly. And so, but the things are that we are always, we're criticized, we're watched closer, we are, and even with the feeding the food, when I would feed my daughter, she was a mess. I don't care. She
Yeah.
had food everywhere, but there's also a sink right there. I would take her out the high chair and
Oh
throw her
yeah.
butt in the sink and wash her up. It's
And
not
That's
that's
going to
how they
kill her.
learn.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Seriously.
everybody. I mean,
It's
Yeah.
like,
I
how are
oh,
you
I
gonna feed
hated
a
feeding my
child?
kids
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
They're like, how
yeah.
are you gonna
for
feed a
that
baby?
reason.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hello, gets messy. Okay, take off
Yeah.
the clothes, put
Yeah.
them in the
I'm
bath,
telling
and if you gotta
right.
get in there, then get in there. Who gives a-
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
telling you,
God.
when finger foods, when they were able to eat those finger foods, when I could just throw
Yep.
the food on a high chair and let
So
them
Yep.
much
go at it.
better.
Yes, it was.
My
Yeah.
But
That's
doctor
the best
told
part.
me, my kid's doctor told me, don't worry about them not eating everything. They're gonna eat what's enough for
yeah,
them,
right,
Oh
Exactly.
yeah.
yeah,
So if you got to put it there and let them make their way through it, they're gonna find their kids
yeah,
always find the path to their mouth.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Like
they're
an
gonna
instant.
eat some of that stuff.
right,
Yeah.
You know what
yeah,
I like to do personally? Like, I don't. I okay. So here's one part where I'm like, hopefully my court don't hear this, but I'm struggling because I'm trying to figure out how to teach my 17-month-old how to learn how to eat with a spoon. So yesterday I have the bowl, with his spoon and the mashed potatoes in there. And I have my bowl in my hand and I'm eating and I said, "Look, baby, we do it like this." And so I start doing it and guess what? He starts doing it too. So that's that.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah,
way
that's what
they
you want
Well,
to
actually say to
do.
teach them. They say to
did
sit them
just
at
sit
the
and do
table
it.
with you. And when you all have dinner, pull their high chair up to the table and y'all eat at the same time. They're gonna try to
Well,
mimic
Well, I'm going to
what
tell
you're
you
doing.
guys something. I was sighted. I've only been blind for 20 years. So one of my sons, he would not use silverware. I don't think he used silverware till he was 5. Like he would not use a spoon or a fork to save his eye. I was sighted. So who's going to come? You know what I'm saying? So that has nothing to do, once again, these are kid problems, parent
Bonding.
problems,
Yeah.
mom problems,
Hmm.
and society needs to realize that we are parents and mothers, and just like everybody else, we just have
Yeah,
different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
of course.
I've tied bells on my daughter because she
Hmm.
went even just around the house, just because
I do it
there
too.
was times when we were alone and she would not speak.
Oh my God, yeah. One time my
And
little
I
baby
didn't know
cried
where she
crawled up the
was.
stairs. I was
Yeah.
panicking because he went
You
up the
just don't,
stairs.
and you thought, and you're looking for him downstairs. You're not knowing where he's at.
He could have
But
fallen.
But kudos for your baby learning how to crawl up the stairs on their own.
right.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
exactly.
Hey, but I guarantee you, we are not the ones that came up with those baby leashes. It was not a blind
Yeah.
parent. I don't
No, it
think
No,
was.
so.
I'm
those were
pretty
cited.
positive.
Exactly.
I
And
have one
that's
of
the
those.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Those are
people
things.
criticize those all the time, and I'm like, why? Like, those are genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they
Those are
Well,
amazing. Praise
let me
God for
tell you,
those.
Britt, and we talked about this on the last episode. I criticized them when I was a sighted parent. I thought they were the most, why would they put their kid on a leash? That is so ridiculous. It's like they're a little dog. And when I went blind, I'm like, that's like the greatest thing ever. I've never, and so again, there's different perspectives that come with different people, but
Hmm.
I was ignorant in that fact because my thing was, that is who puts their kids on a leash, and that is, but you think about it, for safety.
Yeah.
It only
yeah.
took one time for my child, when I'm standing there as a sighted mother, for my kid I took him out the high chair, stood him by the car, and he darted out in the street and almost got hit by a car.
Oh
Yeah, I bet
God.
your
Oh my
heart
goodness.
dropped.
It
Oh,
dropped. But guess what? If I would have had that leash,
You ain't going nowhere.
it would not have happened. So
But you
it's a
absolutely.
know, too, I
safety
think I
thing.
think
It's
we
safety.
I think we as blind and visually impaired parents, like we teach our kids the importance of like staying close by. And I don't know, mine is definitely stranger danger. I see so
Oh
many
yeah.
sighted parents who don't have control of their kids out in the store.
Ah,
And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
yeah,
sitting here like, get
yeah,
your kid, get your baby, you
Yeah.
Like
know?
for real.
And so like
Hmm.
I've had step kids and we will be in the store. My kids are by me and those kids are at the customer service that's being called over
called
the
looking for the
intercom for us
parent.
to,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what
Mm.
happened? Y'all didn't
Yeah,
teach this child to like not roam? Like
yeah,
Yeah.
really? My
yeah.
kids don't want to be off the aisle where they can't see me. Okay. I
Hmm.
gotta
Yeah.
be in
Yeah.
view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you moms that have like older kids. So I read a book by Michelle Obama. So I think her dad has some disabilities, and to them it was just normal about what he would do and how he would do it. But as they grew
Hmm.
older, they realized that they had more empathy and more care for just people in
Absolutely.
general
I've
because
read
of
that.
their dad, and then they realized it in an older age that they're more empathetic. Do
That's
your kids,
Hmm.
are your more kids more empathetic because they're
Yes.
raised by a blind mom?
uh, absolutely. My son will say
Yeah.
that all the time,
I think
and
so, yeah.
I like to think that, my son would have been that way regardless of me being blind or not, because that's just a good person, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, my sons who are very shy and don't want to be seen and out there, when they see somebody struggling or when they see another disabled person, period, they're quick to go and help them. They're
Yeah.
quick to, and I think it just made and it's because, and my son has said stuff like, oh, kind of like, because my son looks kind of rough, right? And so he maybe, might kind of scare some people when he's coming up trying to help, thinking they're going to rob them. So the first thing he says is, ma'am, can I, do you mind, would you like some assistance? My mother is blind. And, I'm here to assist you if you need me to. So he'll throw that in there to let them know that, I've dealt with a disabled person. I've dealt with a blind woman, and I'm here to help you if you need me to.
Yeah, and my daughter, she was in high school and was, said that it was a kid in their class that was disabled and that the teacher was actually being pretty rude to. And her and a couple of other students were like, no, this is not okay. And they
Yeah,
were, making their plans to go report it at the office and stuff because they know that just because a person has a difference doesn't mean that they should be mistreated, So
yeah,
they're definitely very empathetic and caring and just all around good people because of having that
yeah,
experience.
right,
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
yeah,
kudos to us for being amazing moms who just happen to be blind, raising some
yes,
really cool,
Oh
empathetic
man, did
kids.
she just
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes,
I'd give
absolutely.
us a round of applause for sure.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely?
yes. So
We're doing an amazing job.
we are. And ladies, I want to thank you guys for coming to the table and being so vulnerable and just sharing your stories. And, I think this is what it's about. We need to uplift and empower one another because guess what? They're not going to do it for us.
No, they're
Exactly.
not.
Right? We have to come together and unite as moms and know and kind of depend on one another for our strengths too,
Oh
because
yeah.
there's times where, there is that doubt, you know, there is those times when we may think that it's not possible, but,
Mhm.
you know, a little slap in the butt, kick in the butt, that like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I got this. I
Yeah,
got
you can do
this,
it.
you know?
You find a new way.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
you
Find all these
do.
mom blind hacks.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so where we are our kids superheroes. And
Yes, we
Absolutely.
are.
my son says it every day. My son, there's no woman in my eyes that is more powerful than my mom. My mom is the strongest woman I know.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
that makes me feel so proud. Yeah.
Praise
Absolutely.
God.
Yeah, because
Yes.
my
Yes.
kids definitely feel like at the end of the day, they cannot use an excuse to say there's something that they cannot do
Yeah.
because they've seen,
It be
the
done.
Look at
challenges. And
mom.
Oh
Mom.
even
yeah.
if
Yeah.
it's not as something that I've done, they know that challenges can be overcame
Absolutely.
with barriers,
Yeah.
things
And
that hinder you.
Yes.
and I
So
think I'm just that type of
Yes.
mom. I don't take excuses. Even if I'm blind or sighted, I don't like
Right.
excuses. Figure it out.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
Yes,
Tough enough.
exactly. So, ladies, before we close, do you guys have any tips or words of, encouragement? Any good words for our other um, blind moms or visually impaired moms out there that you would like for them to get from this?
I would say just do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Majority of our things that we worry about are not blind related, they're mom related. You are
Hmm.
not the first blind mom. You will not be the last blind mom. Just do it. As long as it's within reason and you're safe, your kids are safe, try it, do it, because you're never going to know until you try.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right,
One
Nicole.
thing, one thing I wanted to say was I don't know what every mom out there is going through, but I have heard of some moms go through a similar situation or probably even worse. But one thing I want to know, and one thing I want to tell you guys, and I know that everybody has different religions and beliefs, but from my perspective, I just want to say hold on to God. Hold on to God as tight as you can because He is the one that can get you through this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Britt.
Well, first of all, I definitely second and third what you just said.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
that first and foremost. And then I have a unique perspective in that, like, I once was, well, not completely sighted, but not completely blind either, so sort of in the in between,
Hmm.
with four kids, and then going completely blind with the remainder and being forced to deal with it like instantly.
Hmm.
There was no time to grieve the loss. I just had to figure it out on my own, and I did. And I say that to say, don't give up on your life or yourself just because things aren't going your way or something tragic happens. your kids are everything to you and you are everything to them. And if they see you strong, they're going to mimic that.
That is so true. And I think too, Britt, one of the things, just to sum up those words, your kids are always watching. Thank you for those words. Christina?
My thoughts are just to let you all know, no sighted person nor blind or visually impaired person has been able to write a book on raising these parents the perfect way. I mean, I'm sorry, raising these kids a perfect way. So
Mm-hmm.
don't learn to cut yourself some slack, because even if you've raised 5 kids, you're still going to learn something new with the sixth one. They all have their own individual needs and things that work for that particular child, and that's with every parent regardless. My mom had 10, and my mom always said that each kid required its own way of dealing with them, so,
Yeah.
and she was not blind or visually impaired. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of, that was going to say that too. There is no manual. There is no book. And so with that being said, we have to, and what we've all said at some point or another, we have to make our own way. We have to figure it out on our own. And what I want to make sure our listeners know is, societal ways is not necessarily your way. And you have to separate that, what society expects of you, not just as, I'm talking about your mom, your sisters, your friends, how they expect for you to raise your child is not the way that it has to be done. You have your own way in raising your child. You know your child is safe, and most importantly, loved. Because there's parents out there, sighted, not to, whatever, anything, that do not love their children the way they should and do not keep them safe the way they should. And at the end of the day, if you are doing that and you are loving your child and you are parenting to the best of your ability, there's going to be times when it's not perfect. You're going to mess up. Your kid might do something that you're like, ooh, whoops, that didn't turn out the way it should. Kids are resilient. They're resilient. They bounce back. There's not too much damage you can do, with the exception of, we don't want to permanently scar them. My son tells me to this day, first time he naked, he'll never, like he said, he said, I never want to see my mom naked again. So that probably permanently scarred him. But we cannot go by what society thinks we should be. We are our own individuals. We are our own parents, and we make our own ways. And the way I do it is not the same as Nicole does it, not the same as Jennifer does it, not the same as Britt does it, and not the same as Christina does it. We all do it differently. But guess what? I may have taken something from what each one of you said and still made it my own way. But without what you told me, I probably would not have even been able to come up with it.
Blind table talk, yeah.
Oh, I miss my mama. Now listen. But nah, you know what? I'm happy we did this because we need to show appreciation. You know what I'm saying? And those mothers have some beautiful stories, kind of heartfelt, and hey, just big salute.
Definitely heartfelt.
Happy Mother's Day to you, our beautiful sassy son. We can't forget about our boss lady as well. You know what I'm saying? To my team, talking about it. Big salute to you, mamas.
Thank you.
Y'all do a wonderful job and with your beautiful self. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all listeners so much for tuning in again. Please don't forget to be on the lookout for all the hot stuff coming to the table.
You mommies, you might just be winning a gift from the security. Hey, so be on the lookout. I think somebody called security. You know it.
There's somebody called security, huh? Don't forget, listeners, leave us voicemail messages. You may be included on one of our upcoming episodes. So
you just never know.
Yes, 800-321-6456. Also email us info@blindtabletalk.com.
You know where to find it. Hey, don't forget about the channel as well. Blind Table Talk. Let's get with it, y'all.
Blind Table Talk, yeah.